We are live. Back from my last final speech, just showing you my audience members. And all right, how's everyone doing this evening?
Good.
Good. My name is James Haywood, and I'll be giving you guys a little informative speech on how whoopings work. I think adults need whoopings until they're dead. Basically, I think whoopings go a long way in creating better people. And I'll just start off by saying a little quote from Vitor Belfort, actually an MMA fighter. And he once said, "Legacy is not what I did for myself; it's what I'm doing for the next generation." And that's kind of a very important thing for me, getting Earth, America, our country, our society, our nation, in a better situation for the next generation than the ones who came into it. So, whoopings work. James Haywood, today's date. There we go, folks. And 385,000 babies are born a day. It's a lot of little rugrats coming into this world that we need to make sure we raise correctly, properly, to give them a better landing spot, better starting zone. And we will keep on here. Perfect. Last year, there was about 3.6 million babies born in the U.S. alone. So that is a lot of babies coming out of just America right now. Whereas, bang, roughly 140 million babies born just last year in the entire world. 140 million. Okay, that is a lot of babies. That's a lot of babies. And my ideal would be that whoopings for children create better kids, and better kids in turn become better adults. And with better adults, we can create a better society as a whole. So, now, why are whoopings used? Why do we use whoopings? Where do whoopings come from? Why are they effective? Are whoopings good or are whoopings bad? And it's not a straight up black and white answer. Sometimes, a lot of times, whoopings are bad. They're not very effective. They don't work well. They don't get the point across. They don't kind of teach the lesson that the whooping probably was meant to. And sometimes they're good. Sometimes the whoopings are effective. Sometimes they get the point across and they get the right message to the child. So I kind of just go over a couple of the good ways whoopings can be effective. Physical discipline. Whoopings are physical and this discipline, but other ways that we can somewhat evolve the term whooping would be, instead of actually beating your child, make them run around the block 2 or 3 times. Have them do wall sits, make them do squats, push-ups, sit-ups, cut the grass, physical activities that they might not think is fun, but might take the place of that physical beating or whooping that might do mental damage, might do, make actual physical scars and then emotional scars, and emotional children become emotional adults. And now we have an emotional world and no one's really, moving forward anything. But those are just a couple ideas, a couple ways of disciplining physically without necessarily whooping or beating your child. Physical discipline, here comes a couple of those, as I said earlier, running, push-up, squats. Yoga's another one. Cutting the grass, cleaning the house. You might get whooped. Mama might make you wash them toilets and tubs out real clean. So those are a couple of those. And as I said just a second ago briefly, it's more about the evolution of what a whooping is or should be, instead of what we know the term whooping or beating, spanking, whatever you call it in your house to sound and to be like. So evolution of whooping to me in my own personal experience, I've used certain examples already when it comes to how I grew up, how my sister grew up, how my little brother grew up, is growing up now, whereas my mom would whoop us. My mom would beat us, you had the belt, but eventually, as my mom was growing as a mother, and as she was still growing as a human being, so did her tactics when it came to parenting. And so the whoopings turned to lectures. And there's a certain point where, as a child, you kind of want that whooping back, okay? Because you got that belt, 2, 5, 10 minutes, and you were done. Then you can go off to your own room, cry by yourself, and play your game or do whatever you wanted to. But when you got that lecture, those lectures sometimes hurt worse than the whoopings do, don't they? When they just talking, spitting in your face, you got slobber on your mouth, and it's not from you, okay? Because she's screaming, she's talking, she right here with you at your level. And then don't say a word that wasn't the right word, because then it was done. It was 20 minutes, but it was done. Then you said it the wrong way. You said IT the wrong way, and now it's another hour of a lecture right there. So just to give you insight, a little bit of credibility, my credibility, where I'm coming from, is it's worked. When we got whooped, mom would come back around, maybe apologize, maybe say sorry. But as she grew and as we grew, it was less of the physical whooping, more of a mental, verbal exchange and understanding of, okay, this is what you did, this is why you're in trouble, and this is how you can better handle this in the future, and so on and so forth. So those are just the evolution of whooping in my own house that I hope today to inform you, so that you guys can take this on and practice it in your own families, in your own household. All right, and now that step of that extra time of talking and listening rather than just physically whooping or beating, that is a very vital step in creating better people, creating better kids, creating better discipline, which would all together in turn lead to creating a better society as a whole. And so that starts with communication, How do we do that? We gotta talk to our kids. We gotta correct them. We got to correct them where they're wrong. Where they went astray, we have to be the leaders and the adults that we claim to be, and we have to lead them and correct them on their journey, on their path. Compassion. No conversation, no lashing, no whooping, no screaming, no argument can really be consumed or absorbed fully without the friend of compassion. Without compassion, it's just too brutal, it's too harsh. So the compassion is needed to fully learn the lesson and to get that point across. And so why are we doing this? Why do we need this? We're doing this, and I'm informing us all on these possibilities in turn to create better people. In this day and age, we have celebrity and chiefs, we have politicians left and right, Congress people, bang, Mr. Donald J. Trump himself, from The Apprentice to the White House. And this is the reason why we need better people, because we need better people to fill we need better people to fill these higher ranking positions. We need a better, higher quality of people so that the bar doesn't continue to get lowered and lowered when it comes to our politics, our education, our healthcare, whatever topic you may think. But it all starts with who we have filling these positions in the first place. And so that's why we need to create better children, have better kids, and turn them into better adults, more effective adults, more efficient adults, more thoughtful, thought-provoking adults, so that when we have an election for president, we can have someone we want to vote for and believe in. When we have someone running for student body president or student council or vice president of some huge corporation, we need people with morals and values who are raised properly, who love the neighbors, each other, to fill those positions, to give ourselves and our future generations a chance at a better life, at a healthier life, a more conducive life on this planet. And yeah, I will go ahead and go to the next one. Perfect. And this just kind of touches on, like I just got done saying, those jobs that we need high quality people, we have to first have those high quality people before they can go ahead and fill in these high quality jobs that we need. And the next one will be, when we make better people, we can create better environments. And that is better environments for everyone, including women. Whereas women raise, carry, and give birth to these children, for them to come out and sometimes be disrespectful, sometimes be rude. You know, I know we've all seen those kids in the grocery store where they're acting up, or you know, you just thinking in your head like, oh, that kid needs a good whooping, or oh, that kid don't got no sense. No home trainer. Who raised that kid? You know, oh, that mama and daddy need to. We've all seen that, and this is where it comes in. Where when we create better children, when we instill in them a certain code, a certain morals, a certain values, and as we continue to instill in them, even into adulthood, those values, those morals, then they can in turn carry out and live those morals and values in the world, in turn bringing better treatment in the workplace, better treatment at school, even in the nightlife, more respectful gentlemen, gentle ladies out in just regular life, including for women as well. And just to kind of put a pin on things, better you, better society. And at the end of the day, that's what we're going for. Starting young, when the seed is planted, from when the seed gets here outside of the mother's womb, until that seed is an old withering tree with the leaves falling off the branches. That is how long and how continuous whoopings, the evolution of whoopings, and what whoopings turn into, whether it's a verbal tough talk, tough love, the correcting your 24-year-old son to stop leaving his socks on the floor, you know, but whatever it may be, those would be the things that will continue to stay with individuals as they go throughout life and push them to be better people. And in turn, just to change the world, we must first change ourselves. And those of us who decide to have kids and plant seeds to create life, we must instill those very changes in our seeds. And in doing that, we can all play our own role in the world, making it a better place little by little. And so, yeah, that's what this one here is for, you know, just to show them how to be better. But then, gotta give you the do's and the don'ts, okay? When it comes to whooping, do not beat your children. You know, this isn't the old days where you can just go get a whip from the backyard and come in and grandma and grandpa beating you till you raw. That is not what I mean by we need whoopings into adulthood. I don't think physically whooping or beating your kid is effective in most any situation. But like I said, the verbal lashing, the telling your adult child, because they're still gonna be your child until you're gone, that is not okay. And I think as we get older and we move out and be on our own, we're adults, we start to think that we're never wrong or anyone can't tell us anything. But I think parents have that right and have that duty to continue to parent and instill in their grown kids these values, these morals, integrity, all these words you see here. And in doing that, we will change the world. When you lead with love. When you lead with love, communication, openness, honesty, empathy, trust, even as a child. Children aren't dumb, and children see and feel these very things. So I kind of wrap it all up with just saying that to this day, my mom gives me talks with me, wants me to be honest and allows me to be honest and open. And it does the same for my little brother and my little niece. And that's kind of what I've hoped you would gather from my speech today, would just be to lead with love, whoop your kids, but the evolved version of what whooping is and should be. And I'm James. Once again, thank you for your time. And now the question portion. If you guys have any questions, I'll go ahead and take them now.
So the few whoopings you did get as a child, do you feel that it traumatized you?
I don't necessarily think it traumatized me, but I can remember the few whoopings that I felt actually were effective, and the other ones that I just looked at as like, okay, punishment. I did something bad. This is what happens when I get punished. You know, so
I think that's a difference of being whooped all the time, every day, versus the emphasis.
Yeah, there's a thin line of whooping and beating or abusing your kids. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a thin line. I don't think you ever crossed that line, but you know, there's definitely some tag team whoopings you get by default just because you there. You know, when your other sibling get in trouble, and if you there, you close enough to the area of trouble.
You got a little piece too. So another question. So
yes, ma'am.
We have a religious background. Don't spare the rod. So what do you say to our Christians who say, and I do believe that I didn't never spanked out of anger. You spanked for purpose.
And that's a big thing.
And it's not a beating like you said, but with Christians, they said don't spare the rod.
Right. Well, you might have to give the crowd a little more context for what the don't spare the rod means in biblical context.
Brother
but
James, I'm asking you.
What I will say is the Bible also says not to eat shrimp. The Bible also says not to eat crustaceans. And the Bible also says not to lay with the same sex. But there's a lot of things in the Bible that we have to not necessarily take so literal, but see the analogies or, the underlying meaning or purpose of those certain scriptures. But in sparing the rod, though, is kind of what I mean by the evolution of whooping.
I was just going to say that because I've had some Christians say it doesn't necessarily mean beat them with the rod. Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. The image of what that rod is from scriptures to whoopings to what I'm trying to put across now, it's evolved. Just like humans have evolved.
A form of discipline.
It's evolved. You know what I mean? Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Any more questions from anyone else?
So
Mr. Wade?
Some parents like to treat their boy children and their girl children differently. So would you say that has something to do with how you discipline your child, if they're a boy or a girl?
Well, so when it's a boy or a girl, I think actually each individual child has to have its own discipline plan, because I know me personally, me being at first the baby and then the middle child, each kid kind of has their own thing about them. And my sister, the oldest, hard-headed, she needed more beatings.
Different approach for each child.
So there's different approaches. So I think it's a case-by-case basis, but the presence of some type of discipline or some type of, you can't get away with this from the parent. It gives the children a good trampoline to start off and go out into the real world with, when it comes to moral advice and stuff like that.
So you don't think it's okay to beat the boy but not the girl? I kind of.
I don't necessarily agree with
Period.
any of them. And that's what I'm saying.
They definitely, the old school is the boy was to be snatched up.
You gotta get real physical with him, and you can talk to the girl and whatnot. I feel like it's across the board. Children shouldn't be whooped. It should be, you can handle it so many different ways, whether it's talking to them, whether it was Mercy. Go have her run 3 laps. Go have her do 100 push-ups. Or whether it's me, I can't have popcorn for the next 3 years. There's different ways to get to each child, and especially now in social media, they can't have their phone for a week. So it evolves as we do as human beings. So any more questions from the crowd, audience? Good.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you guys again for your time. My name is James Haywood. You guys have been awesome. You have a great night.